Everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. So I'm going to be looking in two screens because I'm also live on Instagram. And so I'm looking in two screens, but I'm 100% with you. Thank you so much for joining in. It's great to have you in here. We are giving some time for other people to join, but I'm glad that we are all in here now. Let's go. Let's do this. My name is Ibukun Adebayo, and I'm the CEO of Rock Realty Limited. At Rock Realty, we are extremely focused, right, on people, middle income earners owning their homes. We believe, like I like to say, that people who eat well, drive well, holiday well, drink well, they should own their homes. As it is in other countries that they own their homes, in Nigeria, they should be able to own their homes too. So, however, what we have found is that many people believe that it's a difficult task. And really, yeah, it may be a little bit more difficult than we have in other countries, but there's so many things that have been put in place now that make it easier for people to own homes. So if you knew me before now, you would know that I'm a major advocate of people using mortgages to own homes, right? So there was a cry, or there's been a cry to the government to say, what are the things that the government can do for people to own homes? And one of the major things that the government did, and that was really beautiful, is to say to people that they can use 25% of their retirement savings account funds in their retirement savings account. They can use 25% of it to access home ownership in certain formats that we would be discussing today. Now, because I'm passionate about home ownership, right? I am very, very excited about this. And one of the reasons, so let me just preempt myself. One of the reasons I really believe that people should take advantage of this is that the monies in your retirement savings account are earning you sub-inflation returns. That is, most of them are between the 4% and 6.5% annual returns, and inflation is at 30-something percent. Meanwhile, real estate is moving in tandem, or even better in some instances, like the Lekkies of this world, even moving faster than inflation, okay? So why shouldn't you take your monies that you can access out of a 4 to 6% earning space and move it into a space that is earning you in excess of 30%. Again, my name is Ibukun Adebayo, and I'm so excited to be here. I need to know that everyone on the Zoom is hearing me. So if you can hear me, just say, I can hear you in a comment. Thank you very much. Everyone. Okay, thank you, Neka. Thank you very much, Neka. Thank you, Ayobami. Thank you. So I can't see the people commenting on Instagram, but I can see Zoom. Thank you, Udrak. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'm glad that you can hear me. Now, let's dive straight into it. I'm hoping that we can finish this in about 30 to 40 minutes, right? This is it. Many of us have monies in. Okay, so I'm just starting, just Lover. So good thing I don't need to recap. I'm literally just starting. So it's good time that you came in. Now, the focus of this training is how can you and your team access your RSA funds for homeownership? I made a post a while ago on Instagram talking about this, and many people said, talking about why are people not using their RSA funds? And many people said, we don't even know what to do. There's no information out there. Yes, you will send the recorded version to the emails of everyone that registered. So if you're on Instagram and you did not register, so that you can get the recording, you need to go and register. Look at the post is pinned on my handle so that you can just register and then you can get the email, the recording in the email. Very well. So as part of your home ownership journey, your retirement savings accounts are monies that can come into play. So for those who have significant monies in their retirement savings accounts monies, you will see why it's important for you to move it into home ownership. And second, why and how you can do this. And then third, how we can help you through that process if you decided to work with us, which we would like to. Anyways, so for those on Zoom, I'll share a few slides with you. For those on Instagram, I'll talk to the slides so that you can follow me very closely. But for those on Zoom, and if you want to still register and come on Zoom, you are absolutely welcome. Okay, so how can you and your team access your RSA funds? As part of your home ownership journey, it's important for you to think about that. Now, for middle income earners, right, most times it is extremely difficult for you to put all the cash is required for you to go, all the cash that is required for you to go into home ownership. So anything that helps, you must know it so that this journey can be a lot shorter, right? So there are a few things that help. The first is this. Hold on, stop my shit. If you're working in an organization that you can put yourselves together, or you are the head of human resources. So what I found is that head of human resources, cooperative leads, we're doing a transaction now and it's being championed by the cooperative lead. Cooperative leads, people who can gather staff together. If they know this, then many more people would know it and they can also handhold the people through the process. So we have found a space in literally speaking to who are in this space and they know that they can help people, right? So in introduction to let me just tell you about the pension scheme. It ensures members working in the public and private sector can put monies together for retirement. So it is deducted from your salaries mandatorily every. Okay, so somebody asked the question. I need someone to please highlight the questions so that we can attend to them right after. And the idea is it will also help you to provide regular income when you are retiring. However, the government then said, rather than waiting for when you're retiring, and then by the time you're retiring, you do not have a house of your own. The government says you can access 25% of these monies to fund part of your home ownership journey. It is not for land. So we've had people ask us, can I use it for land? The answer is no. So before we get to that question, I may just do that answer. Right. The eligibility criteria is this. Please, this is where I need you to really listen to me. You must have contributed for at least 5 years. And you must have at least two years to retirement. So you must have contributed for at least 5 years. You must be actively contributing, not that you have contributed and you're not contributing anymore. You must have an active RSA status. The property must be in Nigeria. You must have your proof of age and all your relevant property documentation. So, okay, so I'm having a lot of questions already. What about NHF? Can it be? Now, this is what the law says. The law says you can access 25% of your RSA funds to fund all, please listen to me, or part of your equity in a mortgage. So the law does not say you can use 25% of your house as part of your payment in a cash buy. So there must be a mortgage transaction in the mix. It is actually a mortgage bank. We will go through the process and I'll share with you on Zoom now. It is actually a mortgage bank that does your application on your behalf. So a property is taken to the mortgage bank or your developer is working with the mortgage bank. They then take the property to your pension fund administrator, who then looks at all the documentation, which we'll talk about, and then 25% is released. So let me talk in numbers now. Assuming you have a whole bucket of, say, 80 million in your retirement savings account. And there are many people, so in our experience, we found out that many people having in excess of 50 million in their retirement savings account. So I would use an easy number. Let's say that you have 80 million in your retirement savings or 100 million in your retirement savings accounts. 25 million represents 25% of your monies in retirement savings account. So the government says you can access 25% to fund all or part of your equity in a mortgage. Now, assuming you wanted to buy a house of, say, 60 million naira, and your equity, so your required equity contribution, say, is 30%, which is, okay, please follow me, so I'm talking numbers now, which is 18 million, right? So 60 million naira house is what you want to buy. 30% of that, the bank says bring it as your own equity, which is 18 million. Remember, you have 25 million in your retirement savings account monies. You can access the whole of the 25 million. What you then have left as equity in your mortgage, what you then have left is to take in the mortgage is 60 minus 25 million. So that's the math behind it. What you then say to the mortgage bank is this. Now, this is where it becomes easy and making it the easier way to get into homeownership. Normally, if you walked to the bank would have said, oh, yeah, we can fund this 60 million naira house for you, but you need to give us 18 million naira. And remember that most of the time you're a salary earner. What then happens is, because you're a salary earner, your needs come in a monthly fashion. So many times they're not able to put up together the 18 million, but you have 18 million with a PFA sitting somewhere, more than in this instance that I gave, this example that I gave. You literally can just go back there and take yours. So you say to the bank, I do not have 18 million naira for you. However, I have this much with my pension fund administrator. Now, if you don't have 25 million, like this example with the pension fund administrator, if, for example, all you have in your RSA is 40 million, which means you have just 10 million, you then say to the bank, I have 60 million naira. Are you following me? Zoom, are you following me? If you get lost and you can't understand the next step, just let me know, okay? And I'll explain, I'll come back and explain, okay? So if you have, for example, 40 million naira in your retirement savings accounts, which means, thank you, Oluwaseun, thank you, Oluwasegun, thank you, Jesus, thank you. I like the name Jesus, okay? Now, if all you have in your retirement savings accounts is 40 million naira, which means you only have 10 million naira as 25% of your monies. Now you want to buy a house of 60 million naira and the bank is saying, pay me 30%. You have two options. One option is to say to the bank, I don't have 18 million. Can you allow me do equity of 20%, which would be 12 million? And then you can hustle the 2 million. And then you tell them you have 10 million with the retirement savings with your pension fund administrator. So you can literally go without doling a single dime cash. You can go from not owning a home to owning a home. My classes on mortgage are different, so I won't take us the mortgage route. But first of all, everyone on this call, I think sometime next week or the upper one, I'll do a class on mortgage and knowing what you qualify for in a mortgage. First of all, you need to go and understand what you qualify for. So that what you qualify for in a mortgage, if it's 50 million naira, you're not bothering yourself about 100 million naira house, okay? Then your equity, this is how it works. If I know that I qualify for 50 million naira in a mortgage, and I have, say, 100 million naira, or I have 40 million naira in my retirement savings accounts, which means I can access 10 million, and I have cash, I have zero cash. Then I know that what I'm gunning for is a house of 50 million naira, because I can take 40 million naira, 60 million, because I can take a 50 million mortgage and I can take 10 million. Now, subject to what the bank will allow, between 20 and 30% is what the bank will insist on in your equity contribution. Now, there's an interesting perspective to this. The interesting perspective is this. In some instances, which is what we do, so at Rock Realty, okay, I will repeat that. If I know, and I said I'll take another class in about 2 weeks, if I know what I qualify for in a mortgage, given my income and years to retirement, if I know what I qualify for in a mortgage, so if I qualify for 50 million naira in a mortgage. And I know that the bank will be asking me for somewhere between 20 and 30% equity contribution. I'm looking for a house of somewhere between 60 and 65 million, because I know that in my RSA, I have 40 million and 25% of that is 10. What that means is that the bank can give me a 50 million naira mortgage, and then I would add the 10 million naira from the PFA in my RSA funds to it. I'm 60 million naira gone, right? And then the remaining, maybe it's remaining 2 million, 3 million. I can walk around that. But I have a band in my head. I'm not going around looking for 100 million naira house, because I already know what I can qualify for in a mortgage, and I know how much I have in my retirement savings account. So I can literally sit in my house and work out those numbers, and based on that, look for an apartment, or look for a house, or look for a developer that I'm going to have that discussion with. Some people say to me, I do not have so much money in my retirement savings accounts, and so this thing does not work for me. But this is what I've said to many people. It may not. So if you're for example, a family with husband, wife, and 6 children, you probably cannot stay in a one-bed apartment. However, maybe the money you have in your retirement savings accounts and even what you can qualify for in a mortgage is not a lot. It is better you take advantage of the opportunity, buy a property using funds in your RSA and a mortgage, even if it is a one-bed, and put it out in the market, either for rent, Airbnb, and all of that, because 2 things will be happening to you. One, the first leg is you have taken your funds from an investment, your pension funds, earning you between 4 and 6% returns per annum. You have taken it away from that, and you have moved it into an investment that is giving you upwards of 30% per annum, which is a blend of your rental income, if you're not staying in it. So I have this whole teaching about rental income and rental savings, but if you're not staying in it, rental income. And then the other leg of this is that its capital appreciates every year. So because we are in a crazy inflation environment, you have absolutely no business leaving an opportunity in a 4 to 6% return when you can move it into a higher return. And then somebody says, what of the mortgage part? By the way, our inflation is outperforming our interest rates. So by all means, you can take a mortgage right now, given the rate at which real estate is increasing like wildfire. We have a project that we started at the same time we want that I'll be speaking with you today. That project, the second one, we just put it out for sale because we closed sale on it after a while, but is selling for almost 1.7%, almost 170% the price of the one that we have sold off. And both of them, the time of sale that we open sale is about 7 months apart, which means if you got in the first one, you got in 70% cheaper than this one that we're just starting the sale. Same area. Now, if my money was in with my pension fund administrator, I would only get 4 to 6% on it in this year. But if I took a mortgage and I went ahead and did took my RSA, I'm 70% in the money already just by making that decision 7 months ago. The company that we sold to their staff, a new set of staff are coming in and they're buying 70% more expensive than their counterpart. Same environment. The reason is we're in a high inflation environment. Okay, so that is basically to say, if you do not have so much in your RSA that can buy a house that you would live in, you can use it to buy a property that becomes an investment asset to you. And when you're selling 2 to 3 years down the line, you would have significantly outperformed what your money would have been doing in your RSA. So now, speaking to cooperative heads and HR heads, it's important that you know that this is one major way to work with your people to step them into home ownership. you can literally aggregate them. So, I mean, we work with companies and we work with you as a group. We'll take you through the whole of the journey. Now, we take you through the whole of the journey from beginning to end. We literally work with companies, HR heads, corporatives, to take you from beginning to end. Now, this is the interesting thing. If you're keen into any of our projects, there is a major leg in. So we need you to have skin in the game, very minimal. But during construction, we have what you call construction mortgages. So normally the developer comes to you and says, you have to pay 25% now, then another 25, then another this, then all of that. While that is great and we have that available, when we have people coming to us as groups, as companies, as corporatives, this is what we do. We start up a project and then we have you get what you call a construction mortgage. So everybody gets an off-plan mortgage or a construction mortgage. That is from scratch. You already know the 3 buckets you're paying with. So we assess you, how much mortgage do you qualify for individually, the different people, because different people will be earning differently. How much do you have in your retirement savings account? So we do all of that for you. We would let you know how much you qualify for in the mortgage. And then a third leg, a little skin in the game, which is not a lot. We will help you with your construction. So from scratch, 3 things would happen. Your construction mortgage is processed. I will process that with and for you. You would be required to bring up your documentation, but we'll fill the forms for you. We'll just send you a Google link, literally, that will let you know these are, just provide this information. We will fill forms for you and do all of that. We would work with the mortgage company and your PFA. So you just need to give us information about your PFA. We would work with them to literally access your retirement savings accounts. We would ask you to pay a tiny equity, which is not a lot. But why we do that is because many people step into this. We start all of that process, but they have no skin in the game, so they back out now. So we've learned to make you have a tiny skin in the game, nothing, I mean, negligible. So the focus of this is a construction mortgage, which, so from get-go, all you do is provide your documentation. We qualify you for all you need to qualify for. We'll work with you to get a construction mortgage. You do your equity contribution, and we do your retirement savings account. Now, this becomes bespoke to different organizations, depending on how. So a few organizations have sometimes that they pay them bulk. Some people say we want to pay some bulk. We want to do all of that. That we will make bespoke to you. But that's a summary of how the retirement savings accounts withdrawal happens. You can piece 2 major things together and maybe a little skin in the game, and it moves home ownership from being a mirage to being a reality in no time, just because you earn well, you eat well, you live well, you holiday well, and you deserve to have a home. So before I go on and tell you what we currently have on offer and what we can do for you, it'll be great to see, is there anyone who has any questions on Zoom and on Instagram, if we have any questions? I know Reke has answered many of the questions on Zoom, but if we do have any questions, I would like to take it. And while we're waiting for that, I'll just go on. Now, there are 2 ways we do this. If you have an organization that is interested in our current projects or projects, NYC apologies. I'm not sure I understand that. Okay. Kindly let me know what that means. Okay, now, if you are interested in any projects that we have on hand at the moment, we have 3 projects going on. 2 are sold out. 1 is still available in the market. It's in Lagos at Orchid. It's called Bold Living 5. Everything great as per the project, and I'll share with you. You would key in, and I'll give you details on that. Reke, please, you'd speak to us quickly about Bold 5, the prices, the current prices. You can show us the designs and all of that. So if you are retired, you cannot access your RSA funds anymore. I think you have a minimum of 1 year. If you have 1 year left, you even cannot access your RSA funds. Does this work for people who aren't contributing to the NHF? So the NHF and your RSA funds have nothing, they don't cross paths. It's really just any mortgage. It doesn't have to be your NHF mortgage, any form of mortgage whatsoever. It works easier with your regular mortgage from your primary mortgage banks, your non-NHF mortgages. It works easier than even with the NHF. Not that it doesn't work with the NHF. So you don't have to be contributing to the NHF mortgage to access your RSA funds. I know there are a few other questions on, so let me look at the questions on Zoom. I'm a teacher with RSA of about 8 million naira. What are the chances of owning a home? It just means you can access 2 million naira. Then it now depends on what else you can add and what mortgage you can qualify for. If you know those three, you know what kind of home you should be looking at. You mentioned to access, one has to be 2 years to retirement. It's actually even 1 year to retirement, absolutely. Which means if you have just 1 year left, you cannot access it anymore. But if you have more than 1 year left, yes, you can. How can business owners create RSA? Yes, you can have voluntary contributions to your retirement savings accounts. You do not necessarily have to be an employee. But then if you also have your organization, I say set up your PENCOM requirements, and it means that you then have to contribute to the pension fund. Yeah. Do you deal with persons working in an organization but not involved in the company's cooperative? On a one-on-one basis, yes. Our preference is to work with groups, but yes, you can reach out to us and we can work with you. So we have a few individuals that we work with on a one-on-one basis right now, but our preference is to work with groups. Someone who has retired cannot access, you can just access your RSA funds normally, not for home ownership as in 25%. What of someone, okay, do you deal with, okay, I think so. I'm here now waiting for how your company comes in. So I'm going to speak to that. I'm sure someone has answered you, but I'll also still speak to that. I'm not sure what you want me to repeat. How can we get a record of your past series? I will be doing a few more series in the next 1 to 2 months. Kindly, maybe like set up notifications or something, because I'll be repeating many of the series. Also, what you find is that in the industry, things move a lot all of the time, right? So how can private business owners create RSA? Kindly just send us a message on the site. Somebody should pick up that question. Do you have a WhatsApp group where one can share my confidential documents for processing? Olusegun, somebody will reach out to you because we can find your details in the registration. Someone will reach out to you. Please do not share your confidential documents in a WhatsApp group. We would reach out to you so that you can share your confidential documents with us only, and only what is required will be asked of you. Okay. Okay, so this is what we do. Now, this is back to the question on what do we do? Thank you. Somebody should pick up Olusegun. Can I refer my cooperative to your company to have a meeting with staff? That's what we love to do. We would be very happy to have a meeting with your cooperative, with your head HR, whoever we need to have a discussion with, so that we can go into the details of how this would work. So this is what we do. If you log into our project, what your role basically sits with providing information. Once you provide the information required, so for example, I cannot provide your residential address. We cannot provide your date of birth. So just your regular information. Once you provide that, we will take you on the project. So another question, can they have RSA via a micro pension plan? So I'm not sure I get it well, but your RSA with your pension fund administrators is what qualifies for this. And you would have been contributing for at least 5 years, remember? You must have contributed for at least 5 years and have more than 1 year to retirement for you to be able to access 25% of your RSA. And there are many people that fall into this band. And there are many people with monies in RSA and they've not accessed it. And I'm saying, take that 25% out and access it. Okay, another question. What is the name of your company, please? The name of the company is the Rock Realty Limited. Someone should please share that, both on Instagram and our head office is in Abuja, even though our bigger office is in Lagos. But yes, we have office in Abuja please send somebody on Zoom and on Instagram, send the contact details for Rock Realty. If you also look in my profile, on my Instagram profile, you'll be able to go to the Rock Realty page. So we have, somebody's going to take us through what we have right now. But again, what we then do, so for example, if you wanted a project in Abuja, and right now we don't have an active project in Abuja, and your company says, we want a project in Abuja, we'll sit with you, look at what your income band is, situate a project that works for and with you in a location and with building types that we know that you can afford. So we can make it bespoke for you to say, oh, we're 20 people or we're 30 people in my company or in our cooperative, and this is our income band. This is how much on the average we have in our RSA accounts. This is not, you know, so we'll work with you and then we can create something for you that is a location that will be suitable and affordable, and also to you, bespoke to you, and also the house types that we would all agree together. So basically we can create it and create it structured for you that you are looking at mortgages plus your retirement savings accounts plus a little skin in the game. Now, the good thing is, somebody says, is it only in Abuja that you can get this opportunity? Interestingly, our 3 current projects are in Lagos. Our 3 current projects are literally in Lagos. So right now, we are looking to create 1 or 2 Abuja projects. However, if you want us to create for you in Abuja and follow this pattern with you, we would. So again, Lagos has been interesting for us because the Lagos market has been very open to mortgages and the RSA contributions. We need Abuja people to come on. So I live in Abuja. I work 50% out of Lagos, but I live in Abuja. And Abuja people, sometimes I say, Abuja people need to understand this thing a lot more because Lagos people are catching on like wildfire. I need Abuja people to also catch on like wildfire. So if you feel that you're interested in Abuja, we can have a discussion and set up something for you, and that will make me completely glad. So it is not only in Abuja that you can get this opportunity. You can get this opportunity in any of the major cities of the nation. We're having a discussion right now around Owerri, with a company around Owerri. So again, in any of the major cities, with a focus, with a slight tilt towards Lagos and Abuja, we would be happy to have the discussions. Any other questions before I have Reke? How do we see or access some of your projects? Abiola Lawal, somebody should take note of Abiola Lawal. We would reach out to you so that you can visit, they can take you up and visit any of our projects, especially if you're in Lagos. So do we have any other questions, any other clarifications? It'll be great to take those. Reke, please, can you take us quickly through bold 5? So, so let me address that. So somebody says, Lagos, fears of government coming for some purposes. First of all, let me tell you 2 things. One of the safest properties to buy is a property that a bank puts a mortgage on. So if you're buying through a mortgage, the first thing you want to say to yourself, right, is that you are safe, because the mortgage bank ticks the boxes that you cannot tick. So I'll first of all talk about that. So I tell people that one of the safest nets you can have is to buy a property that is being sold in relation to a mortgage scheme, because they overtick the boxes. So first, you have a big safety net there. Second, we do not joke with our documentation by any chance. Remember, I spoke with you that this project was supposed to start at the same time another one started. You know why it didn't start at that time and we brought it to the market late? We are particular about getting our drainage clearances. So we literally went ahead and ensured drainage clearance was sorted ever before we came into the market. So we do not joke with our documentation. One, because our documentation needs to be clean for our clientele. So we've not had any of those issues around roads, major roads, sorted. In fact, if you're coming into this project, one of the things that you're going to see is the coastal road relative to where this property is. So we show you a full map that you will see that. So in terms of that, then second, so one, because you need to be safe. Second, because all our properties need to be mortgage ready. If you know me well on Instagram, I'm a very big proponent of mortgages. So almost all our transactions, in fact, literally all our transactions are usually mortgage linked. If you do want to do cash, absolutely. But it's always mortgage ready, and we're always partnering with one mortgage bank or the other. They tick their boxes because they do not want their monies to be at risk. I took time to answer that question because it's critical. Right. So again, that's that. For the people who may be buying elsewhere, if you're buying in Lagos, you need to do two things, not just in your regular search. If you're buying any property in Lagos, do not just do your legal search. You need to do what is called a service search. A service search lets you know that that property either falls into any state acquiring thing that will go on later in future, and not, because it will look at that property relative to projected government infrastructure. So please, if you're buying a property anywhere, not just in Lagos, make sure that you do a legal search, but more importantly, also do a service search so that you're safe and you now have stories that touch. Okay, Reka, let's have you, please. Just briefly talk about Bold 5, or let me just go ahead. We would send information about Bold 5 to everyone that is registered, but Bold 5 is in Orchard. It has 1 bed, 2 beds, 1 bed apartment, 2 bed apartments. Then it has your 3 bed terraces, your 4 bed terraces, and your 4 bed standalone units. We would send information on Bold 5 to everyone, which is on Orchard Road, to everyone on this dial that is registered. For those on Instagram, please do click on on the link in my bio to register so that you can have your emails sent to you. You can also go to the Rock Realty NG page and send a DM. You can also send me a DM, actually, if you do want to get more information, or if you wanted us to curate a project for your team that fits your budget, that takes you through the mortgage stroke RSA stroke little skin in the game journey, and we can make this happen. Homeownership does not need to be a mirage for middle income earners. We can make it happen. Many people are making it happen. And like they will say, do not sleep on a bike. Why people are making this happen. Thank you so much for joining me. When are we likely to get the recording and project details? I'd like to hear service charge for the apartments. Can we just reach out to the... But let me tell you something about service charge. Service charges are most of the time cheaper than if you're running your house with the same level of facilities. Let me just drop that there. For those who are usually afraid of service charges, it is almost always cheaper than if you're going to run your house with the same level of services. But I'll drop that there since this is not a service charge session. It's been good hanging out with you. I love to talk about homeownership. I love to talk about mortgages, and I'm so excited to have done this again tonight. While we wait for the information sent to our emails, thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of Democracy Day.